So, Glenn, imagine you were trying to break into the industry today and you were cold pitching people. What would you do?
I presume you're talking about the financial copywriting industry.
No, and let's say any industry. In fact, let's make this more interesting because you are trying to break into a new industry in your uh, uh, other life, your secret life as an aspiring novelist. So you've written two novels, right? So you're pitching them to agents and publishers and whatever. It's a slightly different question, but it's that experience that I want to talk about. How do you pitch into a world that you think you have something to offer, but you don't have any connections yet, you don't have any experience of pitching, and you don't really know how things are done yet? What do you do?
Welcome to The Fix. Sit down with copywriting experts Nick O'Connor and Glenn Fisher as they review, discuss, and improve real-world copy sent in by you. This is The Fix.
There's many ways I could answer that question. And by choosing a novel route, you've led me slightly down one path, but I'm just doing the calculations in my mind live as we speak. And I think it might be useful because what I've done in my novel, so let's zoom out, let's go all the way out, away from copywriting for a minute. What I'm doing with my novel is I wrote one and I tried to pitch it, kind of got halfway there, got some really positive feedback, got like some readers and stuff like that. I had John Le Carre's agent gave me positive feedback, which is always good, but there was something missing from it. So I knew that I was not quite getting that pitch right, because ultimately that pitch is going to get you on the writing, and then that's like going along. So what I have done this time round, I've written another book, which is more me and more my style. And that is a thing in itself, but that's not really appropriate for this particular answer. But what I have done this time is I have sought some help in finding out about how to pitch books. And I'm literally, as we speak, today is the next release of the videos. I signed up for and paid money to sign up for Curtis Brown, which is one of the big literary agents. They do like a 4-week how to pitch to a literary agent course kind of thing with videos from a very famous literary agent and tasks. And there's a little group with a forum of other writers trying to get their books published and everything. And you have to do the work. Like, so I had to like write a pitch for my book, like do the first page. So it was like sharp and everything, share it with 20 people. I have no idea who they are. They all got random experience and certainly not writing what I want to write kind of thing. There's people writing historical novels, sci-fi, all sort of like chick lit and stuff like that. And mine's obviously a surreal, mind-bending, pretentious nonsense. But so I've done that. And the reason I've explained all of that to you, dear listener, is because I guess what that really shows, before we get down to the nitty-gritty of how you do it, the answer in this case is you start with a story and get people straight in, and it's got to be refined and nailed down, which we can maybe explore. But how I really did that, before you get to any of that, is you have to speak to people. You have to go out and you have to like figure out what's going on and how it's done. You can't just, we probably get 5 or 6 emails a day to the fix with people just presuming to know stuff and like writing in a way that is not, it's just not cricket. It's not how you speak to people and how you approach people. So when we like advise people to join things like the Fix Accelerator or even just watch the Fix alone, let alone come on like the boot camp that we're doing and all that kind of stuff, it's not just to say, go and do this thing. I'm paying money to try and find out how to get into the novel world, because I don't know how the best way to do it is. I'm quite confident that I've got what it takes. I think my book deserves to be published. I think I've got the skills on that front, but I don't know the best way to approach that. So in the first instance, very long answer to your question, but I seek help and I ask people, how would you go about doing that? I can then go on to shift into the specifics of it, but that would be my first port of call. Look around, ask people. Like, I guess it's like figuring out what the industry you're in, how does it work, from people who know how it works.
Well, that's what I want to talk about today. So I want to try and we've got a piece of copy. It's a bit meta. It's a pitch to a financial publisher.
Right. Okay.
I'm trying to come at it from a slightly different angle beforehand. So just one thing that I would zero in on, and now Glenn, we're friends, so I'm going to be mean, but I mean this in the broadest sense possible. That polite, positive feedback that doesn't result in your book being published is still a rejection. And I don't, and because I would say the most important part of what you just said was they were kind about it, but they didn't publish it. So I've tried something different. And I think that's really important.
Yes.
In the world in the world that I operate in, which is, I hear a lot of people saying, I sent my stuff to X publisher, Y publisher. They really liked it, but they just don't have a space for me at the moment. And yeah. Glenn, can you still hear me? You've gone all jumpy on my screen.
Yeah, I have, but yeah, I can still hear you.
That's fine. I'm the important one. That's fine. And the important thing, so just so informally threw that at you. You just nothing. So the point I was making is actually really important. When someone is really kind but doesn't give you a job, that's still a rejection. That's a no. It's a polite no. And it may be a useful and encouraging no, and you should take it as such, but it's still a no.
Yeah.
And so it's like if your customer, you write a sales letter or an advert and you get loads of letters in saying, loved it, but not for me this time. It's still a no. They did not buy your product.
Yeah.
So,
well, the novel world is quite a good analogy, really, because it's the ultimate in subjectivity. Like, it really is. But I did the rounds with the first novel I wrote a couple of years ago. And yeah, I got great feedback, positive stuff, changed it. Even Ruth liked it, which is, Ruth despises me in most aspects and is one of my biggest critics. But at the same time, I won't go into the thing, but I knew it wasn't quite right for myself, but it was good. Like, it was objectively good. The subjective element, though, I'm going out and I'm trying to get people to respond to it. They're not responding to it. It is a rejection. So if I just kept sitting there going, yeah, but I'm really good, that's no good. That's not getting me anywhere. That's not getting you anywhere. If you keep pitching the same thing and you keep getting rejected, if you just keep doing the same thing, probably, is it Einstein or whatever, that's the definition of insanity. So
probably Einstein.
Probably Einstein.
Can I just slow down for a second? It's not about the quality of your novel, it's about the quality of your pitch that we're talking about.
Exactly.
So your pitch failed. Your novel didn't fail. Your novel could be published down the line and go on to be read by double-digit people, which I imagine is your goal.
Oh, at least. Yeah. I mean, my mother has sadly passed away now, so that's really knocking off the chances of getting to 10. But we'll try.
Get 200 or 300 sales of that novel, but amongst the right people, amongst the I don't know, whoever it is that your audience is. But my point is that you don't have to take a rejection as a rejection of you, of your work, of your person. It's that your pitch didn't work. So I think it's really important that people recognize that, because I hear a lot of people saying to me, I'm writing, I'm doing this, I'm trying that, I'm trying this, and nothing's really working. And my question is always, well, are you repeating the same mistakes? Are you doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different response? Because perhaps what you need to do is say, my pitch isn't working, or the copy I'm sending out. So for instance, I was, somebody that came through the thefix network, writing to financial publishers, was sending a health piece of copy as their calling card. Okay. There's an obvious reason why that wouldn't work. So don't keep doing it. So I think that's a very hard-nosed way of saying, and I posted about this morning, that in the financial world, all publishers are looking for great writers. All businesses that rely on writing are looking for great writers. That's a fact. The problem is there aren't that many great writers out there. So they're not hiring all the time because there isn't enough of the people they want. Your goal, therefore, is to try and be one of those people that they have to hire, not to just keep doing the same thing and think, well, they must not be hiring anymore, because that's not true. So I thought that's a kind of context for what I want to talk about today, which is that first thing. Have you sent 10 pitches out and been ignored for all 10? If that's you, your pitch doesn't work. That's what that tells you. I may be wrong every now and again, and I don't at all mean to be cruel, but it seems to me the most obvious conclusion to reach is you're pitching the wrong thing, you're pitching the wrong people, your pitch doesn't work. That's what the marketplace that you're operating in is telling you. The next step up would be, oh, we loved your work, but we just don't have space for you. That means you need to get better, and then we'll think about working with you. That's what that means. It means you're promising, but we don't have time to train you.
Yeah.
We can't bring you in on a visa. That means what you need is in-house tutoring, and we can't get you here to do that. That's what that means when somebody says that about a visa. It means to make you good or to get your full potential, you need to be sat next to me, and that would require a visa. So it's not the visa, it's where you are in your thing. None of this is a problem, but I think it's important to really understand what the market is telling you in this pitching world, so that you can start to moderate what you're doing. So I'm going to give some advice based off of that. One of the things that we're going to be doing at the financial copywriting bootcamp in March is we're going to have heads of copy and publishers there in the room to talk to you, to look at your work, to sort of talk shop a little bit, maybe go out for a few drinks afterwards, so that you actually understand the people that you're talking to and what they really want. So that's one thing that I would consider. It's not the only way in, but knowing your audience will definitely help you. So I've got a piece of copy from somebody who submitted it over LinkedIn. So we should just remind everyone that we'll review anything here: pitch copy, lift notes, ideas, challenges. Just send it to us at, what's the email address, Glenn? feedback@thefixcopywriting.com. Or you can hit either of me or Glenn on LinkedIn if you're connected with us there. You send it to us.
Don't just hit us. Hit us up.
I think the correct phrase, as we all know, is slip into my DMs.
And slip into our DMs.
Just be careful.
No, not on LinkedIn. My DMs on LinkedIn is a banal.
I mean, yours are really slippy. Really slippy. I've seen them. Terrible. Don't use the phrase, I'll slide into your DMs or slip into my DMs. Anyway, send us your copy. So this pitch is interesting because I'm not going to read the whole thing out. It starts with an explanation of what this particular business should be doing, which is, I think it starts with something like, I've been reading this marketing book. In fact, I've got it right here. I'll read you the opening line just so that you get a sense of the tone. Yeah. This idea should help, and then it has the name of the publisher, for a stronger relationship with its readers. It's based off Blair Warren's hidden addictions concept. And it says that for your audience to really understand, to really buy from you and trust you, you have to show that you understand them. Okay. And then it goes into an explanation. Now, then in the second half of the Word document, it kind of says, here's how you might do that in a piece of copy. There are a number of reasons I wouldn't do this. The first and foremost is your job in a pitch, and I would say this is true of your novel, Glenn, was the number one thing you want someone to do? Read that novel. Start reading your work, because you must feel like if you read my work, that's an honest chance. If you read it and don't choose to publish it, that's fine. But if you don't even read it, then the pitch has failed, right? So we want the smallest amount of intellectual space to our audience has to wade through before they're going to read your copy, which is your calling card. When I was hiring people, I used to put in all caps at the top of every job application, do not send me your CV, I won't read it. Because I just got sick of wading through all this. All I wanted to know, I wanted to see the piece of writing. I didn't care where they came from, who they were, what their background was, how old they were, anything like that. I just wanted to read the writing. And so your pitch should function in a similar sort of way. Get to the writing. So the reason I sort of counsel against starting with, here's an idea that could help you to form a better relationship with your readers, is whether it's meant to or not, it slightly starts with a lecture, which is not really where you want to form your relationship. You don't necessarily need to pitch up like, oh, please, sir, you're rich and powerful and I'm not, and I need your help. You can pitch as equals, but you don't want to talk down to somebody. And whether you mean to or not, saying, I've just read a marketing book that has an idea in it that I think could help you change your business, know your customer better, that risks coming across as, well, it was one of two things, like a lecture, or just like kind of a bit boring, kind of like, so what, of course I know this, I'm a financial publisher. I know that the relationship with my reader is the number one most important thing. So what you risk happening is never getting to the writing itself, never actually getting
ironically, in a massive twist of irony, it shows that you don't really understand your reader or your audience. That's what it really does, because that person knows who you're writing to. They know that stuff, and if they don't, then they certainly don't want someone coming on pitching them and telling them in that way, you don't know this kind of thing.
That's how it can come across. I'm not saying that's the intent at all. No, it's not. It's being offered in good faith. So this isn't a criticism of the motive. It's just an acknowledgement of how the writing might fall. Now, for instance, if you were to put the piece of copy you've actually written, the thing that the publisher could run, which is what they're going to want to read as soon as they can, in front of them, they like it and they want to have a chat with you, you might open that conversation by saying, well, that copy that I wrote, that came about after I read such and such a book. And now you're showing, this person's interested in what they do. They're engaged with what they do. They're obviously understanding what they're reading because the copy was good. So it could come as what I would describe as like a second punch. I mean, don't punch your prospect would be the first piece. But like, hit them with the copy and then hit them with the thing that helped you get to the copy. Interesting. Don't start with an explanation. It's a little bit like, Glenn, you writing your pitch to a literary publisher and talking about why they should be publishing different kinds of ideas, which I imagine people do.
Oh God, without doubt. So there's a couple of things in one respect, I've always got my copy brain turned on, and you'd be interested to hear, because all of the pitching stuff, I keep kind of watching it and laughing, because I'm like, bloody copy, like, yeah, of course it's this. But two interesting things, which I think are universal, and I think I'd be interested to get your thoughts on, because I think it applies to this. Number one is the amount of time, and they literally use the same language, the hook. It's all about starting with a hook. You've got Johnny Geller, who's like the head of Curtis Brown these days, but he's like a massive agent. But he's literally saying, your hook. You're talking about your hook of the book. What's the hook? Like all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's universal. That's what you try to do it. So actually, it's slightly indulgent, but I do think the best way I've learned is a pitch letter when you are pitching to send your novel off. And as I say, I do think this comes back. You could probably like literally précis this into or duplicate this into pitching to a thing. No more than 3 paragraphs. So you've got 3 paragraphs, which is probably about 300, 400 words tops. Probably less than that, actually. No, it's probably 150 words. And the universal thing is, dear reader, and then you start with the idea, with the hook, what's going on. You get none of the balls, you just go straight in. It was another agent because I've watched all of this and I try and absorb it as per my initial advice. And I can't remember, I think she's called Carly. I can't remember her surname, unfortunately, but she's a massive famous person, doesn't need my support. But she said it in a really good way, slightly American, but it was, for those 3 paragraphs, you have your hook, your book, and your cook. So the hook, you open with the hook, what's the idea, blah, blah. The second paragraph tells you about the book, the kind of technical, this is a novel about XYZ, and the cook is you. I'm a writer, I've done this, why am I the person to tell his story? Best wishes, F off. That might be why I'm failing, because I do say fuck off at the end of all of my pitches. But no, so that idea of coming in, if we put that into the copywriting world, you send an email to us going, there's a railroad across America, blah, 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 straight into the actual hook of the promo, going, all right, okay. Might be a bit weird because we're not used to that in that world, but you'd still be like, okay, that's an interesting idea. Then you go, this is the idea I've been figuring out based on what I've been doing, and you explain why, you explain the copy, and then you go, I'm a writer who's loves your stuff, would love to be like working for you, understand something. If this is something that you're interested in, get in touch. I'm pretty sure that's going to be 100 times more effective than I've written 20 lift notes that are crap. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like that's
a great way of thinking about it, because that first line is almost like a little space ad, little Google, yes, Yahoo. Yeah. Like, in a book context, right? I would imagine the most direct pitch would be if the opening line of your book has a hook on it, as lots do. So, like, I'll make one up that's rubbish. Let's say the opening line of your book is, Glenn Fisher is a man who's died twice. First on the 1st of 19, whatever the next bit is. You might put that in, and then the next line might say, that's the opening to my book about Glenn Fisher's adventures in time, where he visits such and such and such and such and such and such. Yeah. My name's Glenn Fisher. I like Paul Olmsted. Please have a read of my book. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, I'm reducing you. One day
I moved on to Percival Everett as my main influence.
You know what I mean? Well, I can see you've got Paul Auster behind you next to one of your philosopher friends. Who's that?
Bob Socrates Johnson.
Bobby. That would be, so you could do the same thing, at the opening. It could be the opening line, or it's almost like a little teaser thing. A strange change is coming to Britain with the rollout of a new technology that all of the banks are adopting. Yeah,
that's how I'm looking at that hook, and I'm thinking it's basically hook, copywriter is the three. So you go like, what's the hook? What's the copy about? Who's the writer? That's all you need. That's all you need. And like, I think that's, so I've then seen on this course, seeing other people do stuff, and some of it is like, oh, wow, like you're not ready. Like, I'm not saying I'm ready, but like, you're not ready. I can see that. And the reason you'll see it in all of those situations is because they just over-explain their idea. And it comes back to Mark Ford, who always sticks in my mind, as he used to send stuff back to us if it had a higher than 7 FK score, and says, you have not clearly got the idea about what you're writing here. And what it all comes down to that. It's if you cannot express that idea simply, clinically, and directly, you're not ready to like go to the next stage, whether it's a novel, whether it's copy, whether it's whatever. You need to spend all of your time. So going from my very broad advice to go and find out how people do it, it actually all comes back. The actual difference will always be like boiling your ideas down and just saying, this is what I want to say. This is why I'm saying it. Would you like to talk more about it, kind of thing, and getting that clarity of an idea. And it's dead hard. It's dead hard. Like, trust me, there's 20 other people and we're all trying to figure it out in the novel world. It's even more hard in an obscure financial space or whatever copy world you're in.
It is and it isn't, because you're in the novel world. This isn't what you're good at. What we're talking about now actually is copywriting. It's another form of copyright. Pitching yourself is another form. So I get why, somebody that's, written a 1,000-word novel, the idea of boiling, I could imagine some pompous Berg thinking, well, how can I boil it down to 3 paragraphs? It's like, well, don't then. But please leave. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas I think copywriting, we are maybe in a slightly more hard-nosed environment. Anyway, our point really is that the email you send, I think you should follow that format. And the goal of the email is to get them to open your copy sample, which is what you want them to read. And then you want that copy sample to make them think, oh, this is good. I'll get in touch. That's all you're trying to do. That's all you're trying to do. That copy sample, the higher up the value chain it is, the better. And by that, I mean to say, if it's an original pitch for a product that could be, a headline and lead at a fully fledged idea, that's the highest value thing you can pitch. And then at the bottom would be an email, and then there'd be grades in between, re-leads, different versions, different takes of existing ideas. Where you are on that chain depends on how experienced you are. You want to be as high up as you can. I wouldn't pitch, some emails to somebody because that's not what I'm good at. I'm good at.
I'll clarify that because I know we have a broad range of listeners. Certainly in the financial copywriting world,
yes.
you go in on promos. If your job is email marketing, if you are a writer of emails, then you can pitch an email campaign. That said, I pitch a campaign rather than like, here's an example of an email I can send. You'd pitch like, I've got this email campaign idea. It's really good. It's based around this play that you did the other day, or this product element of your product. I thought that would be really good if we sold chicken nuggets using the email chicken, and the email chicken hatches a new egg every day. Kind of explore something bigger. Don't just go, I've written one email that I can do. So it kind of equates, but like higher up on the value chain of what you will ultimately provide that business with is what I'm trying to clarify.
Yeah, that's true. Now, Glenn, there's actually this email transitions into an example of the type of copy he's talking about, which I was going to review. I've changed my mind because I actually think doing that risks the message of what we've been talking about slightly getting lost, because it's slightly a second idea, really, which is the copy itself, the sample itself can be reviewed on its own legs, and maybe we'll come back to that in a future episode. But I think the overriding message should be that, what was it? Hook,
Yeah.
copywriter. That is how you want to position yourself, your email, your message to that publisher, that copy chief, that person. Keep it nice and short and send a sample of your work of some sort that demonstrates your skills. And the job of the email is to get them to open that. The job of that is to show them whether you can do it or not. So do that, use that model. Don't over explain. Don't try and don't try and tell them how to run their business. Don't point out a mistake they've made. I mean, you could break all of these rules and people will and be successful. There's always somebody. But as a general rule, it's going to be better to keep it short, keep it brief, keep it hooky, because that's what copy chiefs are looking for. Show your work. And underlying all of that, remember that if you keep getting a no, it's probably you, not them. No, it doesn't mean to say you, the human. This is a constant thing we have to talk about in the copywriting world, which is like your work is not you. So I should rephrase it. It's probably something you're doing in
your approach. It's your approach that is incorrect. The process that you are currently following. That's not
you're running. The copy you're running. The copy.
The offer is wrong.
Yeah. So just remember that if you're going out again and again and again and again and again, and you're getting polite no's, ghosted, ignored, whatever, it's fine to be annoyed. It's fine to be upset. It's fine to feel like, why aren't they responding? But we're copywriters. If we start feeling like our customer is in the wrong for not buying our product, we're going to fail. Because we're deciding that it's their fault, not ours. We have to look to ourselves. We have to look at what we're doing or what we can change. Just as if I wrote the best piece of copy I've ever written and it went out into the market and it generated 0 sales, it doesn't matter how good I think it is. I can't just keep going back out with it. I have to change it and I have to find something that will work. So just remember that. Don't let it upset you, but be open and honest with yourself about the things that you're trying, because maybe the market's giving you information that's slightly coded in, good manners or, sort of euphemisms that people say when they're turning people down. And actually you need to kind of strip all that away. So what's the message I'm really getting from my market here? So you need to keep that in mind. But I think if you take all that on board, you've got a much better chance of ultimately getting where you want to go. Because ultimately, in the financial space particularly, and I think across other markets too, there's a chronic shortage of great writers, and yet there's tons of people who want to become writers. So ultimately, the odds are actually in your favor. They're not against you. It's the fact that people aren't quite making it through the process, aren't quite at the level they need to be that's holding you back.
Yeah, there is that idea where, as you say, the supply and demand is such that it can probably feel frustrating because you're like, well, it's pitted against me, but people on that, like, there isn't, or I'm not aware, certainly not the publishers that we work with, I'm not aware of someone who would turn around and go, "Oh, damn it, too many great copywriters are sending me great ideas." Like, it's insane. However, because so many people are pitching crap all the time, and you probably are aware of that, and you probably have a confidence in you somewhere, despite us being all shaky, scared weirdos, we actually are confident. It's the strange paradox of a copywriter, in the sense that we believe we know how to persuade people. So there has to be the confidence there. So you're looking around going, "Oh God, well, I'm good. Like, but then I think there's something goes in where you get trapped in this thought where you think, "Oh, but they don't want to employ me." And it's like, no, they do. And I don't know where that little tweak happens. I don't know if it's because you're actually looking next to you and you're seeing all this crap, but that's not the industry, that's not the publishers who are doing that. They're all going, "Come on, something good." But we look at the next people next to us and go, "Well, they're rubbish, I should be better than them." And then we put that bitterness on the actual person receiving it. Then our actual pitch is like, "You should understand why I'm a genius." And it backfires, kind of thing. I think that's why that happens. But as you say, you've just got to think, "No, I'm cool, I'm good. I'm going to pitch you my idea. I'm going to focus on that. And if it's a good idea, if I believe in the idea, I'll keep trying it, but I'll try it different ways and keep trying different approaches. But if you're not getting it back, try something different. Try something new. Spend 2.5 years writing another book. What other things are you doing with your time? It's not a problem.
I think beyond that, you can also, if you are interested in joining the financial copywriting world and you want to learn from the best, I'm not including myself in that. I'll let other people say that about me. No, we're bringing together a bunch of very, very experienced financial copywriters to teach you how this is done. So how to generate ideas, how to pitch in a way that people will like, how to write the kind of ideas that publishers actually want. It's in March in London next year, 19th and 20th of March. And tickets are on sale now. I think we only have a few spaces left. This is going to be a small group. But if you are interested, then check it out. We've been messaging people on the fix list. I'll also maybe post a link under this video on LinkedIn and YouTube if you want to find out more.
I thought about this in a slightly meta way, but I always want to say these things because I think it reveals something, if not about me, about the industry. I thought about this the other day. On LinkedIn, when you post things, you're not allowed to post links in the thing because it penalizes you in the algorithm and all these kind of things. And I thought, right, I'm trying to pitch people, trying to get them to sign up to enter the financial copywriting world. And I thought, if you want to get a link, you need to sign up on this. And I just thought, a little part of me thought, if you can't go and find that link, if you can't go and get that, you're probably not going to make it. And I wanted to say that, and I want to be honest about it too. But if you're not willing to figure that out and find that out, you've got bigger problems. That's the reality. But I'm hopefully speaking to intelligent, good copywriters who watch the show. If you've got you have that confidence, say you've got something. I do think coming to this bootcamp will be one of the best ways you can get into the industry. But that's
no doubt. Right, enough about ourselves, Glenn. We will be back. This is probably the last episode we'll do before our Christmas special. So coming up soon, we have 5 episodes back to back with some of the, legends of the financial copywriting world. That will be running maybe in a week's time. Anyway, look out for it. 5 episodes right before Christmas, all about financial copywriting. You're going to hear from Mark Ford, Bill Bonner, a few special guests. We're going to be talking about some of the stuff that we've learned. That's all going to be free. So make sure you're on the fix list to get those episodes as soon as they go out. Yeah, like I said, all free. So do you know what? Enough about us. Enough asking people to do things.
You're the one who's carrying on. You're carrying on about this. I'm going to tell you about my shirt size. Currently, I wear a medium.
Yeah, enough. Yeah. We should end every episode with me just hitting a massive gong. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and we will see you next time for another episode of The Fix. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
If you enjoy The Fix and want to get access to even more good stuff, Join the Fix Accelerator today. Get access to special masterclasses from Nick and me, watch expert interviews with industry legends, join live copy feedback sessions every week, and get connected to our very own private copy network. Visit thefixaccelerator.com for more information.